Hello friends, welcome to the M.A.R.E podcast. Before we get started, you can find our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts and YouTube. Don't forget that you can find more about the M.A.R.E project at www.marehamburg.com, and you can support the project and this podcast through Patreon. All the links are in the description. Enjoy!
Hello friends, welcome to another episode of the M.A.R.E podcast brought to you by the Honor Frost Foundation. Welcome to another week with the M.A.R.E podcast. I am beyond honored to welcome Ada Lacheres Gonzalez. Did I say that correctly?
Actually, it's Laceras, but it's fine. Everyone told me that.
I tried. Anyway, welcome Ada. Welcome to the podcast. It's very nice to have you here. Ada is now a postdoctoral researcher. She has published widely on topics about Roman harbour towns, if I understood it correctly, if I can put this vague term on top. But before we get to that, would you like to introduce yourself, talk to us a bit about yourself and your studies, if you'd like, so far?
Of course. Thank you very much for inviting me, first of all. So, I'm currently a postdoctoral researcher at the Casa de Velázquez, which is this French institution based in Madrid and focused on humanities and social sciences research. So I'm now there doing my postdoctoral project and focused on late antique ports, actually. Yeah.
Excellent. So, okay. So let's start from the beginning. Where did you do your bachelor's? First of all, let's ask, how did you get into archaeology? How did that come about?
Yeah, good question. So, I'm from Tarragona, which is a very prominent Roman city, and I have all grown up in this environment with all these Roman evidence there that I could visit a lot. So that, of course, marked something or pushed me to try to know a bit more about this society and this culture. And I think that that was pretty much it. And of course, video games as well. I played a lot Tomb Raider. That also played a role. But mostly because I come from a very Roman city.
Okay. Oh, that's very nice to hear. And so where did you do your bachelor's? In your hometown, somewhere close?
Yeah, in my hometown there in Tarragona and University of Tarragona. Yeah.
Excellent. So is it like an archaeology program, or is it like archaeology and history, or is it specific to Roman times? How is it?
So back then there wasn't any archaeology bachelor in Spain. So I studied history, and then I specialized through a master in archaeology, which I did as well in Tarragona at the Catalan Classical Institute. The Catalan Institute for Classical Archaeology. That's it.
Okay, very nice. All right, let's fast forward then. Let's go to your PhD. Did you do your PhD as well in Tarragona?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the research you've done for your PhD.
So in Tarragona, as in many cities in the Mediterranean basin, there has been a lot of work, archaeological work and excavations, rescue excavations, but most of them haven't been published or even studied. So my PhD focused in an area which hasn't been published yet. It covers 2 hectares of the city, the current city. It's not visible anymore because they have been constructed over. I mean, the current city is constructed over. Yeah, I know. But it was a very important part of the city, which was linked to the harbour. It's not the harbour itself, it's rather the port suburb. We call it the port suburb because it's really related to the port activities. And I was fascinated by that because I could read some papers on that, but they were really general, and I wanted to know more. So I started by doing my master thesis on 2 pottery depots that were found there. And then from there, I continued my PhD, mostly working on the urban fabric of this area.
Okay, very interesting. So I think the topic generally is very interesting, and it's something that I think it's discussed among various periods of time, and I see that it can get different names. For example, in the medieval times, or like 17th, 16th century England, for example, they would call them sailor towns, or in the Roman times, we'll call them, as you said, port suburbs. You said port suburbs.
Yeah. So in Tarragona, we had this specific term, port suburb, because it isn't part of the city. It's outside the walls, so it is a suburb, but it's really close related to the port. So we call it this way. Yeah.
That's very interesting. So did suburb develop because of the harbor, or did it just happen to be close to the harbor? Why do you call it harbor suburb?
So I think it happened to be there. I mean, it's really close related topographically, really close related to the harbor, but it's not where the quay was. You see, it is like another part of the topography of the city. So I think it was convenient to place there, for instance, the warehouses. You see, I think it's both. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's very interesting. So I'm interested to know more about the. Sorry if it feels like an examination. Honestly, I'm interested in knowing more about the architecture and let's say the building. So let's say I walk into this suburb. What do I see? How does that look like? What's the buildings that make this? You said warehouse, for example, and warehouses are like everywhere. What else do I see, or is it just warehouses that happen to be in the city?
Yeah. So interestingly, that changes over time. For instance, in the early imperial period, what you could see mostly were warehouses. Then also it's interesting to know that there's a spatial organization of this area. So you have, of course, the warehouses closer to the shoreline, and then on another part or behind these warehouses, let's say, you could find houses as well, or even necropolis, because it's like the entrance of the city. Some of the main entrances of the city were placed not so far from this area. So it is a really mixed environment. But then as centuries go on, what you could see, for instance, in late antiquity is more a mixed area where warehouses were also producing stuff. And also houses were there. And interestingly, as the shoreline was progradating, the warehouses were also moving closer to the sea, to the shoreline. And then where you could find warehouses in the early imperial period, now you find houses. So it is really interesting to see how this developed over the centuries, and see how the importance of placement of these very different buildings in this area.
Oh wow,
and of
that's
course,
very
then
interesting. Oh yeah, no, I mean, I'm thinking stratigraphically, excavating and finding a warehouse, and then a house below it, and then a warehouse maybe below it, which is like, I don't know. I feel like it's a very difficult thing to sort out when you're excavating. But do you have a theory on why the change happened in late antiquity? Is it known, or do you have any thoughts on why did that happen?
What kind of change do you mean?
The changing the building houses where the warehouses were, and then the warehouses becoming workshops. Basically, was it a matter of space? Was it a matter of like there was no organization of the city? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. In fact, the streets, the early Roman streets were maintained throughout the late antiquity, almost until the 8th century, 7th, 8th century AD. So it was organized. No, I think it's more like, in late antiquity, there is this process or dynamics in which multifunctions can be found within the same building. Even within houses, we can find like places where they were producing anything, some kind of stuff. We don't know really what, but we can find like the ovens and everything. So I think it's most likely that we can find a mixture of functions, which is quite common for the late antique period. And then, of course, convenience. It is much more convenient to have the warehouses close to the shoreline than having back where you have to travel a little longer to get to them. And also strategically, they were placed next to the main streets. So then the street which conducted to the quay, to the harbor infrastructure itself, and also the streets which led to the countryside, to the hinterland. So they were really strategically positioned.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, it's very interesting to think about, these places when they are kind of a lifeline, like the vein where the commerce like goes through and is spread throughout the land. But sometimes this can be invisible in the archaeological record, while it's like super important. So let's get a bit more technical about it. You mentioned pottery. You said you studied pottery. So can you tell us a bit about what type of pottery? I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of pottery, but please.
Me neither.
Convince
to say after that. So yeah, I've always thought like that pottery, it is important to know pottery if you want to become an archaeologist. So as I started doing my master, I get to know a bit more about pottery, and I thought it would be interesting to see also commercial relations and this kind of connectivity that I'm interested in. So what I studied are two domestic dams, which were produced in an area next to houses and some warehouses as well. And those are from the 5th century AD, which is a period with really interesting for the Tarragona history of Tarragona, because Tarragona became the last capital of the Western imperial, the Western Empire in Spain. At this point, I think it's clear, or I have.
Yeah, absolutely, okay. Absolutely. Yeah, we got it.
Okay, sorry. So Tarragona at this point was very important, and what we can see is a growing, the growing commerce or incoming of amphora and many other kind of commodities coming through the port. So yeah, that was my main interest. But yeah, then I've always felt more passionate about urbanism, so I shifted for that.
Oh yeah, so we'll get to that. So one last question about pottery. Last thing, was it mostly like tablewares, or was it like pithoi, like storage wares? What was it?
I studied everything. I didn't separate what it was found within the dump. So what we could find was, of course, tableware, amphora, lamps, everything, even cookingware, coarseware. Mostly was cookingware and coarseware, which is it's a bit more difficult to study because it's more regional. Yes. It is not that as standardized as tableware or Roman tableware,
Yeah. So you found basically the image you expected. Then you didn't find anything extraordinary that you said, "Oh my God, what, I didn't expect that."
Not really. I mean, within the history of the city, it pretty much, it was pretty much what I expected. Although we could find some importations were from parts that we didn't know it was that relevant, from the eastern side or even from Lusitania. But other than that, it was it was more or less in the line of what we already know, because we have other deposits from the same century, which are more or less
mostly locally made then. The
coarseware, but then of course we have imports.
Okay, that's super interesting. So then you said your interest shifted towards urbanization. Do you maybe want to explain to us what this urbanization thing is? What is that? What does it mean? How do you understand it? So whatever.
Okay. For me, it's the build the space. It is really difficult to know. But my question is always, why did they put this building here, or why did they make the street like that, or even why did they change the way of constructing, and that architecture has always been something that I'm really interested in. I almost studied architecture rather than history, but and yeah, I think that's it. And also because I really like cities. I'm mostly an urban girl rather than than more countryside. And if we also try to analyze our current world, we are living in an increasingly urban world. So it is also kind of meaningful for me to try to know how people lived in these urban environments in the past, to try to, I don't know, maybe it sounds a bit naive, but to try to understand us better.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not naive. I mean, that's what it's all about. So that's, of course, super interesting. So what were your results or some of your conclusions about this urbanization that happened? What did you realize afterwards?
So as I was telling you, all these special urbanization that we could see, and also really interesting, the reuse and recycling of buildings. As I told you as well, like you had this warehouse, then the warehouse is not used anymore, and they use it and then decide to use it for building a house there, which means that if this warehouse was public, then these people, this family living in this house had the economic resources to at least buy this warehouse or have contacts with the public administration, which give them permission to build their house there. And it wasn't a tiny house. It was a house with its own private baths and mosaics and everything. So it also shows like the economic resources and capacity of these families.
Oh my God. Well, I guess it was since then that money made the world go round. That didn't change. That may be another conclusion. That thing didn't change. If you had money, you could do things. Oh my God, that's very interesting. Okay, then you finished your PhD. You submitted it. Did you published it? Is it published?
Not yet. Not yet. I have to do it. No,
but you
I have
plan
to do it. Yeah. I plan.
But
I mean, I'm always working on it.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. You say it with a kind of like you make it sound as if you have not published anything, and I can see here like a list of journals, and I think, did you publish a book? Is it just my idea?
Yeah. I published a book. Yeah.
What is that about?
On Roman ports. So it is the proceedings of a conference I organized with two colleagues, with Patricia Terrado and Joaquín Ruiz del Bulo from Tarragona University, which we organized. We hosted there at Tarragona, and we invited like specialists in ports and port systems in the Roman times to talk about and discuss about that, and then we publish it. Yeah.
Excellent. I mean, yeah. The reason I'm saying it is because, when you do a master's degree, everyone tells you everyone has a master's, go do a PhD. And when you do a PhD, everyone says everyone has a PhD, you should have publications. And then that never stops, because then you say, oh, I have 2, you need to have 3. I have 3, you need to have more. So take it easy on yourself. You have a very big list of publications, so you should be proud of yourself and not rush things. So anyway, enough with the glazing. Let's move on to you finish your PhD, and now you're doing a postdoc. So is your postdoc, how did that come about? Is it do you work on the same topic you work on your PhD? Is it a continuation, or is it just, did you jump to something else?
Yeah, mostly it's a continuation. So what I lacked for my PhD was comparison with other sites, because I did because of as always, funding. I had to finish my PhD in 3.5 years. So that was really quick, and I didn't have time to set comparison with other ports. And so after that, I got a postdoc in Vienna for 3 months, and then I started to work on my own projects. After that, I mean there, and then after that, So my current project at the Casa Velázquez is a continuation of my PhD. I realized as I was in Vienna that there aren't many publications on late antique ports. They are mostly from the eastern side, Byzantine ports, and this kind of political. So from the eastern side, but not from the western side. That was what I wanted to do. So in my current project, I'm doing that. I'm setting a comparison between 6 ports from southern Gaul and eastern Spain.
Okay. Are there, if you know, but are there significant differences between East and West?
I think in general, I'm not a specialist, but in general, I have the feeling that in the eastern part of the Roman Empire, it was more monumentalized in a way than in the western part. And also, I think that makes it easier to kind of find this kind of structures, these warehouses, or I don't know, the quay or the whatever. But on the other side, it is. I have the feeling that it isn't as monumental. So it is also a bit more complicated to find these structures.
Okay. Oh, interesting. No, I love when I ask PhDs or postdoctoral students or researchers about something that maybe they haven't reached their conclusion yet, and we all use the word "I have this feeling," because it's like it's a feeling, and you're convinced and you're confident on your feelings. And you're like, I have this feeling, and I think we all do it. So if you have the feeling, I trust you because I really read enough to have the feeling. And be able to move on. Okay, then. So how many years is your postdoc? For how long will you be doing it?
2 years. It's finishing in August. So I'm now applying to everything.
Nice. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do later? You're applying for postdocs or anything?
I'm applying. Yeah, indeed. I'm actually trying to finish an application for the CSIC, which is the Spanish Research Center. And of course, other positions that are open in. I'm trying to stay here in Spain because here I have my friends and family. But I'm not. I'm also considering applying to other countries.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting topic, and I think a topic that goes through the minds of many people. The how long do I stay in academia? Like, how long do I push this? And you seem to be doing pretty well. You seem to be pushing it and say, yes, I will stay, I will remain, I will not jump ship and go do something else. Do you think that being in your home country helped you, encouraged you to do that? Do you think it's one of the reasons why you said, no, I won't leave academia, I will keep at it? Or do you think that even if you moved abroad, that wouldn't change?
Good question. So I am lucky because my partner is also an archaeologist, so we kind of understand each other quite well.
We tend to date each other a lot.
Yes.
We keep it in house, yes?
Yeah. So from this part, I think we could manage, and we have always tried to follow each other or even to make things work. But I don't know. I wouldn't mind doing research for a while in another country. In fact, in Vienna, when I was in Vienna, I really it was like a very important step for me. I really somehow I gained confidence in preparing a project and in seeing that others liked what I prepared as a project, not just my old professor in Tarragona, So that was really important for me, and so I'm always like, I have always liked to work with people from other countries and other places and know different perspective. So yeah. I would, of course, like to stay when I have a permanent position in Spain, or Catalonia rather. But yeah,
So
I hope
you're
that answers.
I mean, there's no answer to that question. It's just however you feel. So yeah, if you feel that way, that's legit for me. So you're going for the teaching positions basically. That's what your goal.
Well, yeah, university or even research centers, as I told you.
Research
This,
centers.
yeah.
All right, that's very.
But it's always like a loop, because when you apply for teaching positions, they tell you don't have like teaching experience, and you are more a research focused profile. And then I apply for research profiles or positions, and it's so difficult. But so far.
Oh, that's very interesting. So wow. So how do you gain teaching experience then? I guess you need to be affiliated with the university and just try to TA or something like that. Somehow.
And
maybe?
also, and at least here in Spain, what it tends to happen is that when you're doing your PhD, you get to teach a little bit. But I did my PhD in a research center, not in a university, so I don't have this experience, and it's always this struggle,
Yeah. I mean, well, on the one hand, I see why people would prefer people who have some kind of experience teaching, because I suppose it's very difficult. But on the other hand, you're like, how do I get experience teaching if you don't let me teach? Anyway, I mean, I suppose, I don't know if it's the same, but maybe a person who spends their life researching, they will know things and be confident to teach, but that's not always the case, I guess. Because I think we all had that one professor who was like amazing in research and a great researcher, but they couldn't teach they just couldn't. So I don't know, maybe it's a good thing. But again, those cases exist out there. But anyway, yeah. So you mentioned before, you said I got into archaeology because I played Lara Croft games, and so do you have this interaction with the media still, especially video games?
Not really. I mean, I love playing video games, but not Tomb Raider anymore, because it stressed me out. But yeah, I mean, I love video games, but not archaeology related.
Interesting. No, yeah, I find it very interesting, because I think a lot of people get into it because of movies and video games and stuff like that, even though that's not realistic at all. But
not at all.
People are interested in it because of it. So I just see that. I just see how people are getting interested in archaeology. Anyway,
for me, mostly. Sorry.
No, tell me, please.
For me, it was mostly, again, the landscape, what was projected in the video game, that interested me, like walking around, I don't know, Cambodia or Angkor Wat or whatever. For me, it was mostly that rather than the game itself.
Yeah. Just for the record, I didn't mean that you were into shooting people and killing them. Just for the record, I wasn't saying that.
No.
I didn't incite that you were literally wanted to raid tombs. No. Anyway.
No.
So would you suggest to somebody if someone comes to you today, a teenager, and says, "Hey, I want to study archaeology. Would you suggest I do that?" What would you say?
I mean, if it is what this person really wants, go for it. It's not easy, but it isn't easy in other fields of study either. So I would say you will have to work almost, or the idea behind this is that you will work on this all the rest of your life. So do what makes you happy, even if there are moments in which you won't be happy. I can tell you that, but yeah, go for it.
Excellent. That's lovely. Thank you so much for coming to the podcast. Thank you so much for talking to me. I hope all goes well with your applications and finalizing your postdoc and whatever you want to do in life. I hope you achieve it. And do you have any closing remarks for the people who are listening?
Just I wanted to thank you, and yeah, and I hope this somehow it's interesting for anyone out there.
Of course, I hope that too. And if someone wants to get in touch, please contact M.A.R.E or search for Ada online, and I'm sure you'll find her somewhere. Or just contact me and I'll get you in touch. So thank you everyone for listening to another episode of the M.A.R.E podcast. I will see you all in 2 weeks. Bye.